Hey folks, haven't done this in a little bit. Hopefully the wind isn't too bad because I'm at the top of a parking garage and the wind was pretty nuts, and of course now it's picking up because I'm talking. But I'm in Vegas for the week. Got me a Turo rental, a 2008 Hummer H3 Adventure. This was GM's Jeep Wrangler. That's a little better, a little bigger than a JK Unlimited Wrangler. Slotted it underneath the Hummer H2 and the H1. Of course, the H1 being descendant of the original Humvee, and the H2 being a gussied up Tahoe that, in hindsight, really wasn't much of a good vehicle. The H3 was kind of the attempt to get more of the mainstream off-roader crowd, competed against the Wrangler. What would be the Wrangler Unlimited, Nissan Xterra, Toyota 4Runner. It was really, options were kind of limited right at that point there. Unfortunately, it kind of came out in 06, and by 08 we were in the global financial crisis, so SUVs were on their way real quick. And as a result of the GM bankruptcy, the Hummer brand died, and Hummer was no more. Hummer, Saturn, Saab, and Pontiac. Anyways, there were, of course, the normal H3 SUV, and then the H3T four-door pickup truck, which came out in 2009, was only available for 2 years. Quite rare. Only about 2,700 of those were built and sold. The H3s did a little bit better. Now, the H3, if it had survived into the 2010s, I think with a little bit of updates, would have sold like hotcakes. Toyota 4Runner, of course, with minimum updates, is soldiered on, sold really well. Of course, Jeep's taking over and lead the world with the off-roader crowd, and then it's forced forward to come back out with the Bronco, which is quite literally a Wrangler fighter. So anyways, this is a mid-size SUV. Of course, it's got shrunken down H2 styling. I think it looks better than the H2. The H2 is just kind of tall, just big for being big. The H3 in the shrunken down proportions actually work out pretty well, I believe. Of course, you got kind of the integrated brush guard, big old tow hooks, and a really good approach and departure angle. These came with BFG all-terrains, if I remember correctly, 33s or 31s. Of course, this has since had Toyos put on it somewhere along the line. Of course, try to sit where the wind isn't going to bother the camera. Sits on mid-size Chevy Colorado platform that Zeus originally developed. GM claimed only either 10 or 25% part share between the Colorado Canyon and the Hummers. So anyways, independent front suspension, kind of long arm setup, solid rear axle, AAM 850. It's got lock and rear differential. Front, I believe, is open. This is the Adventure, which was the second to last step. And there's the standard H3, the Luxury, which kind of give you luxury options. The Adventure, which was the more off-roady, and then the Alpha, which was the top of the line, where they topped everything off with with the bigger tires and all that. And of course, the 5.3 LS3 V8. Now, unfortunately, the only available engine in these, other than the Alphas, was the same 5-cylinder that was in the Colorados and Canyons. GM Atlas straight 5. Of course, the 6-cylinder went in the Trailblazers. I don't know the exact story of why the Colorados got the 5-cylinder instead of 6. It must have been a space thing. The chassis are similar, but yeah. Now, this truck right here it's over 10 years old, and it's got some issues. And when we open up the hood, we're going to see some of the issues right away. You can't smell it on camera, but I can smell it. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at the pink. That is coolant. It's got a pinhole leak on the radiator, which is fantastic. I've let the owner know. The radiator level is actually pretty good. I topped it off with water, so it just seems to be just a pinhole leak, but it's kind of disconcerting. To be renting this, and of course the power steering reservoir is missing a cap, because of course it is. Not much room lengthwise, which I would assume why they put the 5-cylinder instead of the 6-cylinder. Unfortunately, it is just not enough engine for this truck. They were underpowered, but fine in the Colorados, because those things are really light. Actually, pretty light. This big off-roady vehicle, the original 3.5 had only made like 222 or 225 horsepower, and that's not nearly enough to propel this. If I was to get one, it would definitely be the 5.3. It would definitely be an alpha. But we can walk around, do some quirks and features. Of course, fake vent on the hood. A bunch of the little styling cues. And of course, this is just, and if you look around, a lot of the plastic is just wore out. Like, you get this big flat plastic trim piece that goes all the way around, and the front piece are faded a different color than what's on the roof, and both sides are coming up. And I believe there used to be a piece that went across here that's now gone. Look at more of this. A little loose there. Not as bad as the other side. We'll get to that. Of course, you got the lock and gas cap. Kind of a Hummer signature deal. Which is neat. See, pushing the entire fender and things of it. And no actual gas cap, which is adding to the check engine light. But, roof rails on here. Locking roof rails, put the key in, slide them down. That one's actually kind of loose. That one's solid. Externally mounted spare. And then more great big giant tow hooks. These have probably never been touched since new. So these things are nice and solid, so probably you're going to have to get in there with a pry bar if you need to use them. Underneath there's the American Axle Manufacturing 850, 8.5 inch ring and pinion. Bilstein shocks, stock. These things are really quiet. Like, this engine does not make a lot. And of course, the Adventure kind of sat with a rake. Probably rotate around a little bit. The rear sits a little higher than the front. It gives it a little mean look to it. Tailgate, the whole thing opens up. See, big old cargo opening right here. And then here is where your flat tire jack is and wrench. Nice flat cargo area, a little narrow. So part of it is just wheel openings and all that. Monsoon. This thing's dirty. This guy obviously uses this thing on the desert bunch. Here's another little pocket. Let's get some fix-a-flat in there. I gotta dig through his stuff. And then some nice metal tie downs. Visibility, as you can tell, is absolutely garbage, because these essentially act as portholes. Of course, it says Hummer right there. The seats fold, but they don't fold flat, which is kind of typical. These back pieces snap in and out, and the elastic is stretched out, so they just fall right out. So that is, yeah, just normal was a 13-year-old vehicle. I assume these Hummer H3 patches went on the seats at one point. And they're kind of floating everywhere in here. And then you got a single cup holder. This folds down for the 2 seats. Cup holder, snack pocket. Anyways, fold the seats. You got a little lever right here. You pick up on the seat button, fold that forward like that, and then you can grab the seat back. And then this little piece right here folds with it and gives you a nice little, so things don't get underneath. And of course, nice solid back into the seat, so you can stack stuff on here. Put that so. Someone with bad brakes down below. Crawl back in here. Some pretty decent, pretty good room back here. I fit comfortably, of course, 6'3", fat, bad knees, but I can just tuck my legs right there, and I can sit here comfortably. And there's your back door pockets. Of course, they come loose, and yeah, the lighting is not good here. I'd be on the top, on the roof, but they got that blocked off right now with the parking garage. Go in the front seat. I bought some water just to be safe. Filled up the overflow just to be safe. A little chunk missing from the seat right there. Of course, nice, solid, hard plastic, or soft, hard, doesn't feel good plastic. Typical of the period, late 2000s, late aughts GM. Little fence. Still has an owner's manual. I'm not gonna dig through all that. It's just a typical GM owner's manual with Hummer descriptions in it. I'm gonna walk around to the other side and talk because you obviously see something that I haven't mentioned before. Walk around back to the front. Yeah, the lighting's better over here. Just standard GM steering wheel, different badge in the middle. Very Spartan seats, and of course, typical GM, late aughts to GM, just things are just falling right apart. But this is a 6-speed, or not 6-speed, a 5-speed manual transmission. Look how big and chunky this shifter is. This is one of the shop trucks we have at the race team is a 2003 6-liter Ford F-350 Super Duty, and it's got a long trucker shifter, and yeah, it's not nearly as big and meaty as this. This is just nice. Lots of potential phallic jokes about this, because this is almost obnoxious, because the shifter itself isn't that bad, but the base, yeah, it's thick. Like, I got big hands, and I am barely wrapping it around right here. I had an energy drink can in here, but I already threw it out. But I got a little comparison of it side by side, and the shifter is almost as wide as a standard energy drink can. And of course, these are your only 2 power ports right here, and they don't work. Yay. And this isn't the stock stereo or head unit. It is, yeah, a really cheap stereo. It is, yeah, not good. And of course, foot parking brake. And then your parking brake release is right here, right above the hood lever. I made the mistake of grabbing the hood lever first when I went to release parking brake the first night I drove it. Yeah, and other than a few quirks, it's inside. It's very much standard GM. Just a lot of plastic, or late aughts GM. Like just a big chunks. Which for something like this is an off-roader. You don't want. I wouldn't want really nice materials in here. Like, they could be a little better, like the dash. But, like, yeah, it's easy to clean. For the most part. This thing's not detailed. And before I get too far, there's the four-wheel drive controls. It's got 4-time four-wheel drive. Full-time. Which, of course, absolutely kills fuel mileage. And of course, 4 low standard, and then 4 low lock that locks the rear differential. Yeah, I'm gonna take it around the parking garage a little bit. It beeps just once when you press in the clutch. And it beeps a little bit. And sometimes the head unit doesn't even come on. Now it comes on. It's not. And then, yeah, shut speaker off. It's got a backup camera. That does not work. It's just a blue screen. Which would be amazing because if you look at the mirrors, visibility is pretty bad. So, release the parking brake. Buckle up for safety because I'm on camera. And we'll cruise around in first gear. And of course, just standard 5-speed. Shifting's fine. There's security. Slide right in gear, so it's easy to shift. And I'm just gonna put it in a parker. Pause it. Sorry, the security guards here use bikes, and they just patrol the parking garage. So I'm gonna put it over here, closer to the elevator, so I can get to it in the morning or tonight, wherever I decide to leave again. But it's not. I am making a video of this. It is not a slow. Make sure I'm in box because I can't see. This is not a fast vehicle. This is a pretty atrocious on the highway. It's as slow as my Isuzu Trooper 2, which is saying something because that's a notoriously slow vehicle. Around first, second, third, it's not bad, just rolling around. But when you try to get up the upper power band of the motor, it just doesn't go. This is not nearly enough motor for this vehicle. Unfortunately, the only way to really rectify these, or this, is just get the LS3 Alpha, but those cost a lot of money. But anyways, 2008 Hummer H3 Adventure. You will see a full Wookie Drives review of this in the near future. But I figured I'd give you a little walk around, quirks and features video of something that probably could have sold a lot in 2010s post-recession. But unfortunately, the Hummer brand died, for better or for worse. It's coming back, but as a electric halo vehicle and sub-brand of GMC, but with Ford bringing the Bronco back, and then Jeep just throwing all the options at the JL Wranglers, such as the hybrid 4xe, and of course finally putting the Hemi in it. At the same time, I think they could really do well selling a H3 sized normal Wrangler fighter. Because remember, when you go Rubicon with the Wrangler, it's not a small vehicle anymore. So, anyways, I'm rambling. You'll see more of this vehicle in any future Wookie drives. Thank you so much for watching. New Wookie drives every other Sunday or Monday, whenever I get them out. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.